Hey y'all, decided I'm going to take a step from the norm tonight. I am a self-proclaimed carnivore. I love my meat. My meat's the best thing in the world. I love a good steak. Other than possum and goat, I ain't really met much meat I don't like. Possum and goat was just too greasy, sorry. So tonight I'm going off the beaten path and I'm actually going to do a vegetarian meal. Going to do vegetable crumbles with pasta and taco style sauce. Vegetable crumbles, of course, as we all know, is code for tofu, soy protein. So let's take a look and see what we got here. Warnick, I love your peelable seals. That's all right. There's always a blade around somewhere. There we go. Take care of that with no problem. All right, so we reach in the bag and the first thing we pull out, French vanilla cappuccino instant powder. That's going to be fun. We have an oatmeal cookie. Let me turn that right side up. Toffee cubes. Ooh, that's new. Those are actually pretty good. The flameless ration heater, of course. A spoon. Got our accessory kit, and we have it's a B. We can already tell that because of the stick beverage in here. I can't tell which one it is. It's covered up. We'll have to take a look now. All right, we have chunky peanut butter and crackers. I was afraid of that. Applesauce with raspberry puree. If y'all remember, I ain't a big fan of applesauce, so I'm going to give that one a taste just for y'all, but that's about as far as I'm going. And of course, our sleeve and our entree. Vegetarian taco pasta. Production date of 4/2/12, which means this was produced at the end of 2014. So, getting close to the end of its life, but not quite there yet. Let's see, raspberry applesauce, 4/176, still 3 years. 3 years. All right, let's answer one question real quick, because we all know what's in these bags. We've got our spearmint gum, we've got our hot sauce, iodized salt, our wet nap, our TP. Now we don't see here is our beverage base and what kind it is. So let's take a look and find out. Is it raspberry or lemonade? Make your bets now. Make your bets now. Nope. Orange type 3. I'll be damned. Sorry, I'll be darned. That just threw everything for a loop. I've seen those in some of the breakfast type menus, but I've never seen it in a vegetarian. That's kind of interesting. So we're going to give that a try and see what it's like. Well, let me grab a tray and get all this started and we'll see what happens. All right, so first things first, let's get our vegetarian taco pasta to heating. All right, bag, work with me here. All right. Okay, so that has that in there. Now, we shall go back to my secret weapon for flameless ration heaters. Our lovely saline solution. That's not a good sign. Normally this thing is hot enough to burn you by now. It's starting to get a little heat. Whoa. Oh, there it goes. It hit. Sorry. Whew. Yeah, that started. So let's get this packed. All right, we're going to set this to the side on a rock or something to heat up. Now, next thing we're going to look at is our French vanilla cappuccino instant powder. Now, the one thing I like about these is if you look at the instructions, it actually says you can add hot or cold water. And I know from past experience, these will fit in the sleeve with the flameless ration heater. So if you don't have hot water, you can always make it work. As that feller on that show my wife watches says to all them people making them fancy clothes, make it work, people, make it work. All right, so let's add some hot water here. It should be about 6 ounces. Feels like it's at the line. Close up our zip. Shake what your mama gave you. There we go. Let that set up for a few minutes. Now, let's try the crackers out. Not vegetable crackers, just regular. Oh, hear that hiss. These seem to have survived pretty good. A little bit of crumbling. Still smell good. So good to go on that. Start making up my trash bag here. All right, I said I would. I'm a man of my word. This is the applesauce with raspberry puree. It's in a nice little suck bag or a distribution bag, however you want to put it. Got a nice little rosy tint to it. As we can see, there you go. Okay, I gotta admit, I've broken down and tried the mango puree, and it was just overly sweet. I'm sorry, it was. This is not that sweet. It still retains some of the apple flavor, but does have hints of raspberry. Still has a bit of the graininess that I'm not a big fan of, but for an applesauce, it's actually not that bad because it's, like I say, it's not overly sweet. It's not overly palate clearing or palate killing, I guess is the best way to put it. Has a nice light flavor. So to be an applesauce, it's not half bad. Just applesauce and bananas. For some reason, I cannot stand the texture of fresh bananas. I love dried bananas. I love freeze-dried bananas. But a fresh banana, there's something about the texture of it in the applesauce I cannot deal with. It just, ugh. So, which is kind of funny because it's very similar to the porridge that was in the Danish ration, but that being smoother was really great, and I had no problem eating it. It was awesome. So it must have something to do with just that granularness to it. Either way, you learn something every day. So let's take a little bit of a peanut butter here and get it going. It says chunky, and I don't really feel much in the way of chunks while I'm kneading it. Come on. There it goes. little bit more than I wanted, but oh well. Yeah, you can definitely see some chunkiness to it. Not actually what I think of when I think of chunky, but it is. All right, and you know what? I'm going to slide these out of here real quick. So I'm going to use this, and I'm going to move these over here. Matter of fact, let's go ahead. Take this beverage base orange type 2, or type 3, sorry. And I've added 20 ounces of nice fresh cold water to my canteen cup. That's got that done. I would tell y'all about that time I went fishing back when I was younger. I ain't going to say how it happened, but we just happened to come up with a keg that still had some product in it. So we all decided we was going to go out one night and we was going to have us a nice little nighttime fishing trip. And we was going to carry some of that beer out of that keg along with us. So we go out hiking. Of course, we had transferred the beer over into other containers. But man, we had so much beer with us that night, it was not even funny. We hiked almost a mile to where we were camping at, set out our fishing poles. So we had 2 poles and there was 3 of us. So one person would sit back with the fire drinking, the other 2 would set up with the fishing poles drinking, and we'd rotate when somebody got sleepy. And by somewhere around 4 a.m., we got to realizing the only thing we brought with us was some snacks, some hot dogs, and that beer. Didn't none of us think to bring a single lick of water. So we figured out who was the soberest one, and they got to hike a mile back and fill us up a water jug and bring it back. Because I'm sorry, I don't care how good you are, you can't make coffee out of beer. I'm sure they have beer coffee, but you can't do it with beer. All right, so let's take a look at this oatmeal cookie. All right, it is definitely breaking apart right off the bat. So let's get this sucker out on the tray. Yeah, that's one thing I can honestly say, folks. I'm glad I had my young and dumb years before there was a such thing as camera phones and YouTube. Because otherwise, I'd have been in a heck of a lot more trouble than I ended up in over the years. We got away with a lot because there was no witnesses. All right, let's take a look at our toffee cubes here. All right, now I have had these before. These are Chocolattos. These things are awesome. I love these things. They are really good. All right, so let's take our French vanilla cappuccino powder that's been setting for a minute. And just so you can see what it looks like, we're actually going to cup it. There you go. Smells like French vanilla. Tastes like French vanilla. But it's kind of heavy on the sweetness. It's a little too sweet for me. Give me a pack of instant coffee to dump in with that to kind of stretch it out a little bit, so to speak. Kill some of that sweetness. That'd be a really good drink. But as it is right now, it's a little too sweet. All right, here's our orange. I'm not sure about that one. I'm not. It kind of reminds me of a cross between. It tastes like somebody tried to make Tang using orange Gatorade. That's the only way I know how to put it. It has that little bit of that Tang flavor to it, where you get that imitation of the orange juice, but then it has that artificial orange sweetness, and it's good and refreshing. It's real hard to describe. I've actually had this beverage based type 3 before, and the ones I had tasted just like Tang. So maybe, I don't know, maybe it was, I was using less water at the time and this just watered it down some. I mean, it's still good. Still going to drink it. All right. So let's take a look at our cookie here. It's just falling apart until you try to break it and then it won't break. There we go. Not exactly what I was expecting out of oatmeal cookie. I'm getting more hints of cinnamon and peanut butter, to be honest with you, especially the cinnamon. Ooh, cinnamon's starting to come through hard. Mm. Yeah, that's definitely got a bit of sweetness to it. It's got a cinnamon flavor that just coats the back of the mouth. Do you know what would really be good? Hey, that might explain what's going on with this. This might not be fully mixed. Because when I just pulled the spoon up, there was a hint of orange on the bottom. Maybe it just hasn't fully mixed up enough. It may be a user error. Issue between the console and the interface. Or as we call it at work, an ID10T error. Now, I've done this with the spiced apples before, but I've never done it with the applesauce. Taking some of the cookie, crushing it up, mixing it in with the spiced apples to make an apple cobbler. But I wonder how it's going to do with the applesauce itself. Don't look like much. But damn, if those just don't go perfect together. I don't know what it is. That's damn good. Hmm. You know what? Before we do that, let me clear out something. A cracker. But cleansing my palate. Interesting. Really interesting. Well, I can tell you the difference between the chunky peanut butter and the normal peanut butter. Ain't none. It just looks like it has bits of nuts in it, but you can't really tell it in the feel. It's still real thick, still real coating. Just tastes like peanut butter. Sorry. No better, no worse. Well, I'm sure this has achieved heating now. So let's pull out the entree and take a look. Oh yeah, nice and hot. Now, this is going to be an interesting comparison. Because if you look back at some of my earlier videos, one thing I did do before was a Norwegian Arctic ration that was taco pasta. So it'd be kind of interesting to see the cross between the two. You can already tell this uses the lasagna type noodles. You can see beans in here. I can see the soy crumbles. There you go. Get you a good look at that. Well, it has kind of a Hormel chili kind of note to it. I'm sure that's coming from the beans. It's okay. Ain't gonna replace taco meat as one of my faves. Definitely ain't gonna replace chili mac. But to be vegetarian, it's not bad. Now look, first time on camera, I think somebody's ever actually opened and used the Waldorf toilet paper. One thing it definitely needs. It's Tabasco to quit playing games. There we go. This needs some hot sauce. Yeah, that helps a lot. The hot sauce really helps. So, okay, yeah. Given the time of mixing again, has more of the tang type taste. So, just needed to be mixed up a little bit better. It's good. So, oh, before I forget, these are the Chocolattos. Think Tootsie Roll to the extreme. a really good cocoa-y flavor. Less of a sugary than you'd like see in the Tootsie Rolls, more of a actual cocoa. This is what Tootsie Rolls should have been, or what may have been back in the previous dates. Those are going to be dessert. So, well, that's a Lando. That's a vegetarian meal, taco pasta, with an amazing new idea about mixing the applesauce and the cookies, because that worked out really well. So I'm going to finish dinner. Y'all have a good one.